Ralph Breaks the Internet, 2018. The film starts at Litwak's arcade. Wreck-It Ralph, John C. Reilly, and Vanellope von Schweetz, Sarah Silverman, have been best friends for the last 6 years. They hang around the game station and bounce around from game to game as they hang out, even getting stuck in Tron when it glitches. The two of them join their friends Fix-It Felix, Jack McBrayer, and Sergeant Calhoun. Jane Lynch, as Mr. Litwak. Ed O'Neill introduces a new plug to the station, a Wi-Fi router. Serge, Phil Johnston, tells everyone that the internet is a dangerous place and is not to be touched. Vanellope feels that her time in Sugar Rush has become predictable, so Ralph decides to shake things up by creating a new track for Vanellope to try out. She rides it on her own, causing the player in the arcade to have no control of the steering wheel. The player then accidentally breaks the wheel off the console. Litwak comes over to try and fix it, but he only ends up snapping the wheel in half. He notes that the company that made Sugar Rush closed down years ago, so it would be hard to find a replacement piece. The kids get on their phones and find a new wheel on eBay, but it costs $200, which is more than the game makes in a year. Ralph, Vanellope, and all the Sugar Rush inhabitants flee as they realize Litwak is going to unplug the game. Everyone crowds themselves in the station. While the Sugar Rush residents are now homeless, Felix and Calhoun decide to temporarily shelter the 15 other racers. This immediately proves to be a bad idea when they see how rowdy the racers are. Felix joins Ralph and Tappers as Ralph bemoans Vanellope, saying that their friendship isn't enough for her to feel fulfilled. Ralph then gets the idea to head into the internet to find the wheel for Sugar Rush so Vanellope can go home. Ralph runs out and leaves Felix to pick up the tab. Ralph gets Vanellope to join him. They distract Serge and head into the internet. It doesn't initially work until Litwak sets up the router, and they follow an avatar of himself as he enters. Ralph and Vanellope enter the internet, which is presented like a never-ending city, with places for social media, shopping, and games. They go to Knowsmore, Alan Tudyk, a search engine that points them in the direction of eBay. Ralph and Vanellope find the wheel, only to discover that they have to buy it auction style from another person. They go up to a ridiculously high number, $27,001, to win it, but then find out that they don't actually have the money to buy the item. They are told that the item will be on hold for 24 hours, or they will have to forfeit the wheel. Ralph remembers a pop-up he saw moments earlier, so he goes to find him. His name is J.P. Spamley, Bill Hader, and he offers Ralph and Vanellope a chance to earn money by playing video games. After going through a bunch of duds, they find that they have to steal a car from an online racing game called Slaughter Race, which is worth $40,000. The two enter Slaughter Race, which is filled with hazards at every turn, like giant guard dogs and sharks that jump out of sewers to eat the dogs. Ralph and Vanellope come across a garage where a team of racers led by Shank, Gal Gadot, are handling two other players who want to steal her car. Ralph distracts Shank and her crew, while Vanellope enters and steals Shank's car. They race on out of there, leading to the other racers to chase after them. Vanellope enjoys herself in this game, up until they are cornered by the crew and forced to come to a stop. Shank admits she is impressed with Vanellope's skills, but they can't have the car. She does offer an alternative solution to earning money, and that is by making viral videos. One of her crewmates uses a leaf blower on Ralph to make a funny video. Shank also sends Ralph and Vanellope to find her friend Taraji P. Henson in the site BuzzTube to help them earn money. Vanellope comments on how cool Shank is, which makes Ralph a little jealous. Ralph and Vanellope then head to the social media section of the internet while being told by a messenger from eBay that they have 8 hours to come up with the money before the wheel gets forfeited. The two find Yes, who is an algorithm desperate to find a new hit for the site. Ralph and Vanellope introduce themselves, and Yes recognizes them because Ralph's video had a few good hits but is now officially old news in the internet world. She does show them that the amount of hearts Ralph gets for his videos turns into currency that he can use later on. Ralph sets up an account and starts to make a bunch of silly videos based off of what's popular on the internet, pepper tasting tests, cooking fails, and Bob Ross, among other things, which all become rapidly viewed in the real world by people who recognize Ralph from his game. Yes sends her pop-ups to go out and get people to check out Ralph's videos. Vanellope volunteers to go out, but since Ralph worries she will go back to Slaughter Race, he has Yes redirect her route to the fan site, Oh My Disney. Vanellope finds herself among other Disney-owned properties like Buzz Lightyear, Baymax, Eeyore, Iron Man, Nick Wilde, Grumpy, and Groot. She is spotted by stormtroopers and chased down a hall. Vanellope glitches and hides in the dressing room of The Disney princesses: Snow White, Pamela Ryben, Cinderella, Jennifer Hale, Aurora, Kate Higgins, Ariel, Jodie Benson, Belle, Paige O'Hara, Jasmine, Linda Larkin, Pocahontas, Irene Bedard, Mulan, Ming-Na Wen, Tiana, Annika Noni Rose, Rapunzel, Mandy Moore, Merida, Kelly MacDonald, Anna, Kristen Bell, Elsa, Idina Menzel, and Mona Ravalho. They are initially hostile toward Vanellope until they realize she is also a princess. They proceed to have a slumber party and ask Vanellope of what she really wants and to sing it in song form. She tries but is off pitch. Back at BuzzTube, Ralph is told he only has 30 minutes left to pay for the wheel. He runs around trying to get people to give him more hearts until he reaches his goal. Ralph then makes the mistake on ending up in the comments section. He sees the rotten things that people say and his feelings get hurt. Yes comes in and feels bad for not telling him about this, but she does let him know that he has officially reached past his goal, and so he makes the purchase official. He contacts Vanellope to tell her the good news. Vanellope herself is in Slaughter Race and finds herself singing her own song about wanting to stay there because she loves it. Ralph waits for Vanellope and tries contacting her again on the device that Yes gave them. She doesn't answer, but the call goes through, and Ralph is on mute but able to see and hear Vanellope and Shank talking. Vanellope expresses her desire to move on from Sugar Rush but is hesitant to tell Ralph. Shank assures her that she doesn't have to be conditioned to something just for the sake of a friend. Ralph is hurt over this. Ralph goes back to Spamley to see if there is a way to make Slaughter Race get boring so that Vanellope won't want to stay there. Spamley directs Ralph to the dark web where he meets Double Dan, Alfred Molina, a thuggish creature with a face in his neck that he refers to as his brother. Ralph makes his request to Double Dan, and he presents Ralph with Arthur, John DiMaggio, a virus that scans insecurities and spreads it throughout the thing that is to be infected. Ralph takes Arthur to Slaughter Race, and it scans Vanellope's glitching before spreading it to the rest of the game. It starts to reboot, forcing Ralph to head inside and save Vanellope before she gets deleted. After Vanellope regains consciousness, she blames herself for glitching and causing a problem. Ralph confesses that it's his fault that the virus spread because he didn't want Vanellope to leave. She angrily grabs the cookie badge she made him and throws it over a ledge. Vanellope leaves Ralph, and he starts expressing his apologies. Unfortunately, Arthur got out, and it scans Ralph's insecurities, spreading it all throughout the internet and creating a bunch of Ralph clones that keep moaning friend to Vanellope like a zombie. Vanellope hides out with Knowsmore until the real Ralph shows up. They decide to find Yes for help. The Ralph clones start attacking the web, which breaks off people's internet connections and is identified as a Wreck-It Ralph virus. Yes rides with Ralph and Vanellope as they try to lead the clones to an antivirus software. However, the clones then merge to form a giant Ralph monster that tries to get Vanellope. Ralph attempts to stop them himself, but they grab him and nearly squeeze him to death. Vanellope jumps in to save her friend, but Ralph stops them from making any more moves by calling them out, and essentially himself, for his clingy and possessive behavior toward Vanellope. He says that while it will hurt to let go, it doesn't mean that it will be the end of their friendship. Now at peace, the Ralph clones disappear, but this also causes Ralph to fall. Spamley tries to catch him, but Ralph goes through his cart. That's when Ralph is saved by none other than The Disney princesses. Mona manipulates water that Elsa freezes as she rides on Jasmine's carpet, while Merida fires bows and arrows with Cinderella's mice as they help other woodland creatures fashion dresses that allow Ralph to descend safely. Ralph joins Vanellope outside of Slaughter Race as she prepares to join Shank and her crew. The two of them express their love for each other and say their goodbyes. Sometime later, Ralph is talking about how things are a little different in the games, such as the Sugar Rush racers now being well-behaved, thanks to Felix and Calhoun's great parenting. He turns out to be talking to Vanellope over their phone as they are still keeping in touch. They say their farewells as the sun rises over the arcade. Ralph then heads to work together with Felix. Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope von Schweetz have been best friends for the last 6 years, though Vanellope has begun to feel bored of Sugar Rush. When the steering wheel on the game's console is broken, Mr. Litwack unplugs the game, leaving the Sugar Rush residents homeless. Fix-It Felix and Sergeant Calhoun temporarily adopt the Sugar Rush racers, while Ralph decides to take Vanellope into the newly added Wi-Fi router so that they can travel into the internet and find a replacement piece on eBay. Ralph and Vanellope find the piece, but they claim it at such a ridiculous price that they are unable to pay it off. They are told by a pop-up named Spamley that they can earn money by playing games online. The two enter Slaughter Race to steal the car of one of the game's residents, Shank. Vanellope almost succeeds and ends up loving it in Slaughter Race, and Shank finds herself respecting Vanellope's skills. However, this makes Ralph a bit jealous. Shank sends Ralph and Vanellope to Yes, an algorithm that helps Ralph make viral videos that earn him currency. Meanwhile, Vanellope ends up meeting the Disney princesses and is inspired to go after what she wants, being to start living in Slaughter Race. When Ralph learns about this, he goes to the dark web to find a creature named Double Dan that gives him a virus to bring into Slaughter Race to try and make it boring for Vanellope. This backfires as the virus not only almost kills Vanellope, but after she finds out what Ralph did, the virus scans Ralph and creates clones of him that start to wreak havoc upon the whole internet. With the help of Yes, Ralph comes to terms with his insecurities and possessive feeling toward Vanellope, accepting that she can be free to do what makes her happy. The virus disappears, and Ralph is saved by the Disney princesses. Ralph and Vanellope say their goodbyes as she decides to stay in Slaughter Race, but they remain friends and still keep in touch.